Hey there, my name is Cole Adams, and you are watching the best college basketball podcast out there that covers the entire sport of college basketball, brackets, bubbles, and bid stealers. Now, here are your hosts, Sam Fetterman and Jonathan Lidskin.
Season 5, episode 71 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. I am Jonathan Lidskin, as always, joined alongside Sam Fetterman. It was honestly like one of probably the greatest crossover days for you and I. Like this season, we had MVC first round. We had Mac on Thursday night. It was the second to last day of the Mac regular season, and
Saturday's
overall,
going to be a better crossover day.
yeah, it is, and it was just a great day. I mean, we got started early at noon,
Give me a second.
one Eastern with Southern Illinois, Indiana State, and we still got some basketball going on late at night. We got the Big West on right now. We have a SWAC game on. Sam's getting his device all fixed up, but right now, UC San Diego going to close out a very important win over Long Beach State to get to 27-4 as the Tritons push towards that at-large caliber resume. And then UC Riverside, 5 minutes to go against a good Cal State Northridge team. Those are two teams that are having phenomenal years. Sam, welcome back.
Jonathan.
We're talking some quick Big West here while we were waiting for you.
So I've got all of the conference tournament brackets up right now. I'm going to have to take them down because I am headed home tomorrow. I actually, Jonathan, do you know where I'm headed tomorrow?
Well, I can't say, there's probably not Mac tomorrow because
there's Mac.
There was Mac tonight. Are you headed to an NEC semifinal tomorrow?
Those are Saturday.
Those are Saturday.
Same with the America East first round.
Are you headed to a conference tournament?
No.
Okay. That puts me in a little bit of a tougher spot. You are. Tomorrow's your D2 game.
D3.
D3. Yeah.
I am headed to Hartford, Connecticut to see the grandparents and check out Keene State versus Clark and Trinity versus Newman. Really excited for that Keene State Clark game. I have Keene State going pretty far in my bracket. I have them upsetting Trinity, which is probably not going to happen. But there was something that I liked in Keene State's profile that I wanted. I needed some craziness. It's the D3 bracket. I'm not putting that much effort into it, says the guy who put more than half of work into the D3 bracket.
We're not going to be doing initial reaction shows and, final picks and that week dedicated to going through the Jonathan Lidskin bracket Bible for the D3 bracket. But
anyway, speaking of the bracket Bible, we have some big shows coming up, Jonathan.
We do.
I don't know what your plan is for tomorrow or Saturday, but I would love to be able to do a show Saturday night.
Hey, I'll be around. I'm working this weekend, but I'll be around tonight. I am making sure that I'm bringing my computer to work this weekend because I'm actually, I'm working with my dad this weekend, and he already asked me to bring my computer on Saturday so we could watch Duke UNC, of course. But there's no way I'm missing the night session of the Valley games tomorrow just because I'm working. Absolutely no chance.
Yeah, I don't think I can do a show tomorrow. I'll be driving home pretty late.
Hey, that's okay.
But Saturday night, I think there's a show. And then Sunday night, we have a really exciting show coming up. Probably around 9 Eastern. We will be joined by the one and only T3 Bracketology to break down the entire bubble.
Yeah, I am very excited for this because everyone has talked so much this year about how bad the bubble is compared to previous years, and T3 is going to help us make sense of it. We'll probably get into some other bracketology topics, one seeds, region sites, different stuff like that, and he's, as well as some general bracketology things. So very, very excited to have him on here Sunday.
Yeah, and if you don't know, Jonathan and I basically, when we finish these shows, we basically go straight on the phone for like an hour and a half and bang out a bracket.
There have been some late nights. No doubt about
it. There have been some very late nights, but we do it all for you guys. So you can check out the slate map tomorrow morning. Tomorrow's not a difficult slate map, thank God. Saturday is a heck of a slate map. That's Saturday is probably one of the bigger slate maps of the year. Last Saturday, this Saturday, and Thursday are the toughest slates.
Saturday is going to be a doozy because, I have been kind of locked into all of these mid-major conference tournaments this week, and not all of them have gotten going yet, but some of them have, and I've been kind of following those games as we pick up more and more conference tournament games with real stakes, real like elimination stakes throughout the week. But Saturday, we always get a absolutely loaded slate this season, especially with how good college basketball has been this season. So it's going to be tough to, keep going back to like, oh, hey, like we're going to check out this high major game, this mid-major game. We got, CAA second round game here. It's going to be probably the most chaotic Saturday of the season.
Then we have with the Sunday night show, probably no show Monday. Then I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have no idea what the schedule looks like for shows next week.
Listen, you're going to be at a conference tournament. I'm going to be at a conference tournament. It's going to be spotty. We'll kind of see what's going on.
There will be more shows than there were last year. I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
We will do more than one. And Sunday, Selection Sunday, which is, Jonathan, 9 days away.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the second week of Champ Week next week, when you're in Atlantic City, I'm going to Indianapolis / Bloomington for the Big Ten tournament. It could get interesting how we do these shows. May have to pivot to some morning shows where we turn the show into brackets, bubbles, bid stealers, and breakfast. So, but we'll see.
That's actually a good idea that I have not thought about. Like, what am I going
to look at me coming out with all the stuff?
I'm up until like 2:30 a.m. every night.
Well,
although I do have my own hotel room.
Those MAC games run like holy cow late.
We're not going to have it that late this year. We don't have the 6-game day anymore. But I do have my own hotel room this year, so we can definitely do morning shows.
No name rhymes with Pam Shredderman tweets this year.
Who knows? Then we've got Selection Sunday. This is a very long preamble. If you're still with us, I don't know.
Thank you. No, but this is important, though. We're getting into the weeds here.
Yeah. Selection Sunday, I will do a live stream to react to the bracket. Jonathan, after the selection show is over, that show will stop. That show will not go on the podcast feed. It will just be on Twitter, on YouTube, on Twitch, wherever you watch us live. Couple hours later, probably around 10 Eastern, Jonathan and I will do our initial bracket thoughts show. The next day is search season with Curry Hicks Sage.
Yes.
I have some stuff to talk about tonight. Jay Lucas, Alex Jensen, new head coaches at high major programs now. And then no show on Tuesday night going into the NCAA tournament.
I may do a show that night, but obviously you are not going to be with me.
What would the show be?
I want to do a show going over the bracket Bible, and I may bring on someone to do it with me.
Is that someone David Campbell?
I haven't officially talked to him about it yet, but it's potentially him.
Isn't the bracket Bible what we go over on Wednesday night?
I mean, it's never really been officially designated as that. I mean, obviously, when we go through the bracket, some of that stuff naturally gets worked in.
Okay, but then Wednesday night is our extravaganza show.
It's going to be long. We're going to go through the entire bracket, break down all our thoughts.
If you want 10 minutes on a 1 versus 16 game, you'll get it. And to be completely honest with you, no idea what the pod is going to look like during the tournament. Last year, we wanted to do nightly recaps. We didn't end up doing nightly recaps. I want to do them this year.
it's just like honestly, like as like crazy as it sounds, like watching all those games all day, it takes a toll on you.
It's
Like,
dude, dude, watching the MAC games for 2 hours is exhausting because it's 6 at once.
yeah, it's a
All
long day.
We need to move on. 2 nights ago, the 9 p.m. slate. That's where I want to start. The Tuesday 9 p.m. slate, because that was the best slate of basketball I've watched all year. Jonathan, the BYU Iowa State game,
Yeah.
and the Nebraska Ohio State game. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with BYU Iowa State because I'm actually extremely excited that BYU has figured it out. This is a team that I pegged in the offseason as like, hey, this is the sleeper, maybe not to win the Big 12, but they could be really good. I think they had them as like a borderline top 25 team headed into the season. You know, this team has shooters, despite the fact that they're undersized, they really can rebound, and they have an NBA prospect, a lottery prospect at point guard, Igor Demon. It was a really impressive showing to go into a place that is like raucous crowd, always a great atmosphere, tough to win there in Ames, and BYU goes in there and was really composed from start to finish, even when Iowa State made the run late in the game to force overtime. I thought the Cyclones really missed some opportunities to put that game away. I think it was Joshua Jefferson, and then the post game talked about how they started both overtimes like really poorly and were fighting out of a hole. So that's what they were doing pretty much the entire game, regardless of how much time was left. Iowa State is not a team, despite the fact that they have improved offensively, that wants to be fighting out of deficits constantly, and especially against a team like BYU that plays really composed and has guys that can hit shots.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite games I've watched all year. I thought Keba Kaita was
impressive, man.
Real. He might have been the most impressive player on the floor in this game. BYU got 17 offensive rebounds. He got 9 of them. BYU won the rebound battle in this game, Jonathan, 52-24, and I felt like it was more than that. They turned it over 29 times, but it didn't matter because they got so many of their own misses. I thought they were tremendous. Keyshawn Gilbert had 8 steals, which is just crazy.
Yeah,
but
I
thought BYU got big play after big play from Kaita in the front court, defensively, offensively, in all directions in this late down the stretch. And Iowa State didn't get a good shot.
Yeah, and Kaita had one of the plays of the game in, I think it was the second OT where he chased down Heisey in transition. Heisey had a clear lane to the basket for a wide open layup. Nobody was within 20 feet of him when he caught the ball. And Kaita sprinted back. Heisey was, a little casual with it. And yeah, he made one of the defensive plays of the year, one of the best defensive plays of the entire season. So it's hard to understate how important he is for that team. And, I remember us talking with Isaac when we did the Big 12 preview about, he's 6'8", which might concern you, if you've never watched him, but he plays like he's 6'10", 6'11", and he absolutely showed that.
And makes him 7'1".
Mm-hmm. Anyway. He absolutely showed that.
I mean, Ohio State, Nebraska was just as electric.
And maybe more important.
No, that was the big bubble game of the day. I had it pegged in the Rise and Shine that I wrote for the slate map. Speaking of which, you're slacking on the Rise and Shines. I've been writing all of them.
Dude, just let me know when you want me to write one. Like we've gotten into this rhythm where it's just like, early in the season we would alternate days and like one of us would take 2 in a row if needed. But
we ended up doing that for like a week.
You post the slate maps every morning, so
yeah, I know. Bryce Williams scored 43, but I thought Bruce Thornton was the best player on the floor. I thought Sean Stewart had a couple key plays. I know he fouled out in 18 minutes, but he had a couple key plays for Ohio State. Just 4 guys played 43 minutes or more for this team. Just a bunch of warriors going out there, getting the job done. This was a wild game because it was also 1.3 points per possession for both teams. Like nobody was missing.
Yeah, I mean, these are two teams that have guys that can shoot. And, I mean, in Ohio State's case, like when their guys get going, I mean, they're still a really talented team.
Micah Parrish hit some crazy shots in this game. I had a lot of fun watching it. Never truly thought Nebraska was going to win until overtime.
Yeah.
And then I definitely thought they were going to win. And then Ohio State pulled away in double overtime.
You want me to say the line?
Yeah.
Nebraska, get these guys out of here.
Yeah.
Just so you know, Sam and I have been saying that off air constantly over the last couple days, and we've pretty much come.
The NCAA tournament has progressed past the need for Nebraska.
If we say one of the two following lines, that they've progressed past the need for Nebraska, or get these guys out of here, you're basically done. It's basically an official designation that you're not going to make the NCAA tournament. You don't even really need to watch the selection show. If we say
the college basketball crown beckons.
we gotta be careful. Under the NIT.
All right. There are going to be 15 games in the college basketball crown. How many of them do you think you're going to watch? At least 5 minutes of.
If the number's over 5, I'd be surprised. But
I think I'll watch 3 of them.
I'd have a more clear answer for you if I would had the schedule in front of me. But
I don't understand why they're doing it the week of the Final Four.
Who is calling these games?
Do they Gus? It's gonna be Gus.
Dude.
Gus doesn't have to be in the Final Four.
I'm sorry. I have a tough enough time watching some of these Big East teams as is. You put Gus on it and all bets are off.
Gus has been brutal the last 5 or 6 years, man.
Yeah, I mean he's one of the all-time greats, but
I think that's pushing it. One of the all-time greats is pushing it. He had a tremendous prime. Brandon Roy,
that's true. That's true.
The Brandon Stokely play, Adam Morrison,
dude,
he had a mediocre prime.
Honestly, my favorite, outside of football,
Isaiah Thomas.
Best Gus Johnson basketball moments, Isaiah Thomas, and my personal favorite, the Miles Powell Seton Hall versus Kentucky game at MSG.
Yeah, that was electric too.
Unbelievable.
That was after his prime though.
Dude, but he was the Powell from the Powell from Trenton line.
He would turn back the clock whenever he called a Miles Powell game.
Yeah. What an electric player.
Hey, Miles Powell brought out the best in Gus Johnson.
Miles Powell finished his college basketball career with 1 NCAA tournament victory.
Kevin.
Hey. I'm starting to believe in him a little more, all right?
I mean, that team has been really good this year, but
it is starting to seem that that Seton Hall job is a little tougher than, we were giving.
Yeah, in the NIL era, when you can't get a guy like Miles Powell.
Yeah, and to be fair to Miles Powell,
Miles Powell would 21-0 everybody on this Seton Hall team without fail.
Dude,
4 times over.
We have talked way too much about
75-0 Gus Yalden.
We have talked about way too much about the Kevin Willard, Miles Powell, whole Seton Hall experience, because one of my favorite lines ever from you is when you told me that one of your theories is that Miles Cale has played on every Seton Hall team ever.
Miles Cale is, and you know why Seton Hall is bad this year? Because they don't have Miles Cale.
They don't have Miles Cale.
They've had Miles Cale every single year.
At some point, the Miles Cale absence is going to catch up to Seton Hall.
Yes, and it caught up.
By the way, Mike Magpie is about to get his 20th win for a second straight season, for those of you keeping track at home.
And last year, didn't we lead the pod with UC Riverside twice?
Yeah, dude. I honestly wouldn't mind if we got him on the pod again over the summer.
We've got a list of coaches that we've got to get on. I'm so glad that we got Johnny.
No, but kind of straying a little off the beaten path here. I believe in this Maryland team. I said back in, I think, December that they had the highest upside of any Big Ten team. I still believe that. Do I think they can win a national championship? Probably not. But
Actually, I do believe that. You're right.
Like,
Maryland is the
they're extremely talented. Their starting five is one of the best in the country, and they know Maryland is obviously a way better job than Seton Hall, and I think Kevin is really making the most of it there. And that team's really good.
All right, Jonathan. By the way, UC San Diego is 27-4, but they're going to take a dip in the predictives tonight.
Yeah. What did it end up being? An 8-point win for them?
Yeah, they were favored by 22.
7-point win. Yeah, Long Beach just had a tough go.
Yeah, that was a dumb decision to fire a guy like Dan Monson. They are now 3-15. They have lost. 3-16. They have lost 14 in a row, Jonathan.
Yeah. You say that about Dan Monson, but he also had like 5 high major level players on that team last year and finished like 5th in the league
and won the conference tournament.
Hey, dude, anyone can play conference tournament level winning basketball for a week.
Anyway, moving on. Do you remember early in the season when like Wisconsin was playing close with UTRGV?
Yes, I very much do remember that.
What do you think UTRGV's record is in the South?
Oh, dude, they cannot have more than 6 wins.
8-12.
Oh,
8-12.
My bad.
The entire country was convinced that Hassan Abdul Hakim was the best player in the sport for like to be fair, he hasn't played since January.
Tough break.
Can you name one other player on that team?
Oh, dude. Come on.
Can you name the coach?
I did the coach quiz last week. I named about 245 to 250 coaches, I think. UTRGV was not one of them.
Khalil Fennell.
Yeah, I would have had no chance at that one.
Conference tournament time. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's do it.
You know what it's time for, Jonathan?
Oh, it's time for a Valley update, Sam. It has
it's time for an A-Sun update.
Oh, okay. that was fun tonight.
No, it's time for a Valley update.
Oh, boo. The A-Sun fans are pissed. But I'm not. Valley update time.
Who are the A-Sun fans?
Dude, I don't know. I mean, Mid-Major Madness is basically a North Alabama fan at this point. So,
Dude.
All right. Valley update. Opening round of the Valley tonight. First of all, unbelievably upsetting that I can't go tomorrow. Last year I did the same thing. I watched the first round on my couch and was super pumped to go tomorrow. Now it's, just I'm watching on my couch again, which sucks. But first game of potentially the game of the week, potentially will be the game of, all conference tournaments. Indiana State 85, Southern Illinois 86. It was Davion Sykes making a layup with 4 seconds to go from Jarrett Hensley. An unbelievable drop-off pass from Hensley to drive and recognize that Sykes was open in the dunker spot. But overall, I said in the first half of this game that I thought SIU was pretty comfortable with the pace that was being played. SIU is a team that thrives in transition, and they got out in transition plenty today. Indiana State's hot shooting kept them in the game. They finished 10 of 26 from 3. Camp Wagner, Aaron Gray hit 3 apiece. I thought that Indiana State and SIU both were super well coached today. You watch a game sometimes and, you often take away that hey, the team that won or is winning, they came in with a good game plan. They made good adjustments. They were super well coached today. I thought both coaches made really good adjustments today, especially in the second half. Indiana State really, started forcing SIU into some difficult shots, and that's how they made their run to get back into the game. A lot of, drop coverage with Doherty to, kind of neutralize the SIU rim pressure that they were getting. And it worked for a while, but then Scott Nagy adjusted and his Salukis started, just not ball screening. So you take away the drop coverage. SIU has better athletes than Indiana State, and they started letting them get downhill. Teams went back and forth. SIU had the ball on the final possession. Obviously, they scored, get the win. Ali Debo was freaking incredible, heroic honestly, 30 points, finished 13 of 24 from the field. It felt like outside of the stretch where Indiana State was playing that drop coverage against the ball screen, he was getting to the rim whenever he felt like it. Indiana State had no answer for him. On to the second game, Illinois State knocks off Missouri State. Happy trails to the Bears, who are now done in the MVC. If you listen to the March to the Arch podcast this week, it sounds like it's probably not going to be a 12th team in the Missouri Valley next year. We'll see about the future, but Illinois State looked like the way more connected team. Missouri State has played teams close all year, and so I was a little worried picking Illinois State to win this game that, Missouri State could be on the right side of some variance here, but Illinois State, after a slow start, really took control of this and just kind of ran with it, where it was up as much as I think like 22 or 23 in this one. Just a super balanced effort across the board, shot the ball well. Kinzinger did a really good job picking his spots. Chase Walker really took advantage of some spots when Bonsu was tired from Missouri State. Dalton Banks really showed today why he was all defense in the league. And the Redbirds move on to tomorrow against Belmont, and will probably be the most anticipated game of the day. Then came the night session, which was, I was excited for these games. They turned out not to be so great. Murray State kind of just ran Evansville out of the gym. Evansville wasn't taking the right shots. They weren't making a lot of shots. Murray State looked like the more athletic team and honestly played, I think, one of their best games of the season tonight. Terrence Harcum went 7 of 7 from 3. So when you have better athletes that also, shoot the ball 14 of 28 from 3 like Murray State did tonight, you're going to win a lot of games. So yeah, Steve Prohm lives to fight another day. That was a much better performance than the opening round showing for them last year, where they scored 34 points.
I think Glenbrook North would put up a better performance than that.
I mean, that was like the opening game this year easily made up for that, but that was a rough watch last year. And then the final game of the night, probably the most surprising game of the day, maybe the most surprising game across all of the tournaments today, honestly. It was Valpo just pretty much obliterating UIC from the start. Jordan Majewski talked about it. UIC wasn't really doing much offensively today in terms of running their stuff. And I don't think that's a team that wants to, rely on individual players creating and making shots. They have some guys that can do it. Ahmad Henderson occasionally. I wouldn't exactly call Javon Jackson a great isolation scorer, and that's kind of what they were doing tonight. Valpo, I don't think, was really doing anything special. They were getting Schwieger the ball in the low post like they typically do. All right, was spacing the floor for them. Well, he's a heck of a player, by the way. And so it was really two guys for Valpo that dominated this game, and UIC really never had a chance. I mean, Valpo, I think, led by double digits at the half. I want to say it was closer to 15. Looking at this real quick. Yeah, it was a 16-point lead at the half. And, they really could coast from there on out with the way UIC was playing offense, because it was not pretty. Valpo moves on to tomorrow. Congrats to Roger Powell, his first win as the Valpo coach at Arch Madness. Sam, you want to jump back in here? You want to talk at all about the games tomorrow?
That was a marathon of a Valley update.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I was outside of the, end of the Illinois State game that was already over and the start of the Evansville game when I had to go to work. I mean, I was watching the games all day. I mean, I still can't get over that Indiana State Southern Illinois game. It was
shocked. I mean,
one of the best games I've watched this year.
I didn't watch all of it. Are you gonna kill me if I say that?
No, I mean, we have stuff going on. Not everyone can.
I had to make sure that I finished 2 class assignments by 3:30.
And to be honest, I would have judged you if the MAC wasn't on tonight, but I understand having to get stuff done before that happens.
Yeah, I had 2 assignments due at 11, but when something's due at 11 and the MAC is on, it's due at 7. And when you have class from 3:30 to 4:50, it's really due at 3:30.
Yeah.
So I got it all done, thankfully. I am all done except for one recitation tomorrow. I can't believe I have to go to this darn recitation at 9:30 a.m.
But
Like,
then you get to leave like right after.
Yeah, but no, I have to come all the way back to South because I can't bring my car.
That sucks. There's honestly like
The good news,
underrated feeling. Underrated feeling, Sam. When it's like the start of a break and you have to like, wake up to go to one class, but you get to leave like right after the class.
Oh, great feeling.
Because it's like, oh, like you get to go to class and like, it kind of wakes you up and you have to a reason to get up other than just driving wherever. But, it's just great to like, get that one class and like, you're sitting through it and then all of a sudden, like, let's go. Spring break, Thanksgiving break, whatever.
I'm just excited for my chicken bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a chicken bowl after class.
Chipotle?
No.
Oh.
From the student center. Where I'm assuming Rodney Terry is going to serve it to me.
To amend the words. All right.
Chicken, right?
So, real quick, some thoughts on tomorrow. I mentioned how SIU likes to live in transition.
Hey!
What?
A son.
Oh, I was just gonna give some quick thoughts on the Valley games tomorrow.
Let's go A son.
Okay.
We don't have a ton of. We have to do a ton of bracketology tonight.
Man, did Lipscomb mess around?
I don't think they messed around. I think Queens is just good.
Queens is good. Queens is a good team.
Their season's over.
Huh?
Their season's over.
Sorry. You never know. Are they just ineligible for the NCAA tournament, or is it also like other postseason tournaments?
I think technically they could go to the CIT.
Dude, they could get a CBI invite.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Really good season for the Royals, by the way. 18 and 15 2 years ago, 14 and 19 last year with a ton of one score losses. 19 and 14 this year. I think I know what the problem was.
It's the Nick Lawrenson Ewing theory.
And Nick Lawrenson has been coaching for a bad LaSalle team this year. I'm telling you, Nick Lawrenson, wherever he goes, losing follows. Don't hire him.
He's the Sean Dewar Gordon of coaches.
Well, Grant didn't get fired.
That's true. No, Grant's doing a good job there, and Queens had a great year. Like, it would have been.
Nick wasn't there.
It would have been so cool if they got to the title game. But I'm very glad because it sets up this awesome Lipscomb North Alabama game on Sunday.
I'm honestly glad they didn't because I didn't want to bid tonight. Like, I didn't want that.
Yeah, that's true. It's like Queens was ahead and like by like 10 in the second half, and it's like it was like, oh, like we as a society are not quite ready for an NCAA tournament bid to be locked up already.
No, we are not.
And I mean, we get this awesome Lipscomb North Alabama game now. I think did they split in the regular season?
They had some incredible regular season.
Yeah, they split in the regular season, so now we get the rubber match.
Actually, they did not have incredible regular season battles.
No, I mean, it was two, I think, double-digit wins, but...
I don't think we're going to have a double-digit game on Sunday, Jonathan. I don't think we're going to...
I hope not. I mean, it's at Lipscomb. It's going to be, hopefully, an incredible atmosphere. It wasn't a great atmosphere at Lipscomb tonight, but...
We've talked at length about Lipscomb on the pod this year. We haven't really talked a ton about North Alabama, but...
Only when Nick's come on.
Yeah, but like Daniel Ortiz has made a big impact coming back there, but like Jakari Lane
is awesome.
Jakari Lane is the guy, just a sick player.
Yeah, that'll be a great final on Sunday.
I didn't get to watch any of the Horizon Leagues. I honestly didn't watch much tonight outside of the MAC. I caught some Patriot League stuff. Shout out American and Bucknell for getting the job done.
So I was flipping back and forth. Obviously, kept the Valley games on, but was watching other games. Some great atmospheres in the Horizon League tonight. Robert Morris, the crowd kind of propelled them in that one. They were close with Wright State early, and they went on a run, and that place was going nuts. Milwaukee fought back against Oakland, but couldn't get it done. The Greg Campy March Magic is alive and well again.
Yeah, Campy is a tremendous coach.
Honestly, like in terms of like previous years, this was a relatively disappointing quarterfinal round in the Horizon League. I thought we were going to get a big upset in that tournament today, and we didn't. Cleveland State took care of business. Defense was great in the second half there. The only one was Oakland over Milwaukee.
Like I'm gonna say something here. I think this Oakland team is as talented as anyone in the league.
Yeah, I mean,
now that Milwaukee's out.
like listen, like certainly
Milwaukee's the most talented in the league. I think Oakland is right up there. You could argue they're second.
Yeah,
like they have everything it takes to win this conference tournament. Now they don't have to go to RMU. They've already won the road game. This is in Indy. I think Oakland might win the Horizon League.
Yeah, so you have RMU versus Oakland and Cleveland State versus
Youngstown.
Youngstown, right?
Nothing about Cleveland State and Youngstown comes out to me and says like that Oakland can't beat them.
No, I would actually bet that whoever wins the Robert Morris Oakland semifinal wins the title.
Yeah, I think like it's gonna be really tough for Oakland to beat Robert Morris. But Oakland was like a horrific call that got Greg Campy tossed away from beating Robert Morris at Robert Morris.
Yeah, and then they beat Green Bay with their assistant coach.
Yes, they did. And then they beat Green Bay with their head coach twice in 3 days.
Oh, man. Patriot League?
I just said I didn't watch it.
Oh. Dude, I mean, Colgate is back to being a buzzsaw, apparently.
Dude, there was like a 5-minute span when Lafayette was up like 15.
Yeah, dude.
Loyola
that got scary.
Loyola was up like 6. And Sweeney and Rocco tweeted like the number 1 and 2 seeds are losing. And I messaged Sweeney and I said, dread it, run from it, Colgate arrives just the same. Because
they thrashed Army tonight, and good performance by Navy to hold off Boston on the road. I think.
Yeah, I like Navy. I've liked this Navy team.
Like that American Colgate game is it Sunday or Saturday?
Sunday.
Okay, I think that's going to be a very good basketball game. American just went to Colgate. You were there. They won. But dude, when Colgate is playing for an NCAA tournament bid, they, as they showed tonight, are a completely different animal.
Yeah, I remember it was Vermont too. It was Vermont a couple years ago that I talked about the margins that they won by.
Yeah, I think Tanner was the one who was tweeted it today that Vermont was like minus 900 to win that America East tournament, and I wrote the preview for KCOU for that, and it was just like how I was writing that article. It was like, how do I make it seem like these other teams have a fighting chance, because they just don't.
Is that 23 or 22?
It was 22. It was the year Vermont lost to Arkansas.
Oh yeah, dude, they won by an average of 36.
Yeah, it literally would have Vermont probably beats any other
200 spots higher in KenPom than anyone else.
Does Vermont beat every other 5 seed that year?
They were a 13 seed.
Or sorry, maybe 4 seed then.
4 seeds were.
They wouldn't have beaten Houston.
No, they wouldn't have beaten Houston.
Wait, Houston was a 5 though. Illinois was the 4.
They
could have beat Illinois. Illinois could have beat themselves.
Yeah, Vermont couldn't beat Illinois. Illinois could have beaten Illinois. Oh, dude. Providence.
Dude, they would have voodooed their way out of that somehow.
That's it. That was exactly I was celebrating when South Dakota State got picked as Providence's 13.
Dude, I'm being serious when I say this. I don't know if there's like since we started doing this podcast, I don't know if there has been a team with more aura than 2022 Providence.
Dude, 2022 South Dakota State had more aura.
That team had students holding up signs that Ken Palm was a fraud. Like, when will that ever happen again?
I don't know, man. That Providence team was such a funny team.
But yeah, congrats to Matt Wengel, by the way. I think he
were 50th in Ken Palm going into the tournament.
They were 50th.
Yeah, they were 50th.
They probably went up because they just obliterated Richmond in the second round.
Yeah, they finished 32.
I remember there was a great Harrison Vapnik line that night because Providence obliterated Richmond, and Harry bet on Richmond that night. And he turns to me when Richmond starts to go down big and starts to unravel, and he's like, "Okay, no more betting on bad teams today." And then he proceeded to bet on St. Peter's.
Hey, that was a good.
But he won that one, so all was right.
That was a good team.
Oh my God!
St. Peter's is 3 spots back of Richmond and Ken Palm that year.
There was a lot that happened that day that was just sick. I mean, you had that day started with UNC blowing that huge lead and beating Baylor in overtime after Brady Manick got tossed. The next game after that was Creighton, who was basically down to 4 scholarship players, and Rati Andronikashvili almost beating Kansas, who won the title. And then we had the Kennedy Chandler, Juwan Howard stuff. We had St. Peter's beating Murray State. That was a wild day of college basketball.
Never forget the Murray State San Francisco game as long as I live.
Oh, dude, that was real ball hours.
The greatest college basketball game I think I've ever watched.
Yeah, I mean, holy cow.
I spent an inordinate amount of time on this Murray State team's Ken Palm page. I don't know why, but I've memorized that the losses were.
It definitely did feel like.
I've memorized that the losses were 66-58 to ETSU and 71-58 to Auburn. I've memorized that.
Yeah, it was It definitely felt, by the way, after that game, like Todd Golden was the better coach because those two were both on jump seat watch.
Oh yeah, no, Golden was absolutely the better coach.
So,
that game without his starting big.
Let's see, Pacific lost, but definitely a better showing than their first round game in the WCC tournament last year.
Again, Glenbrook North could have done that after flying out and beating last year's Murray State team.
I'm just going through some of these conference tournament results from today. Georgia State and Old Dominion got wins in the Sun Belt, so those teams will move.
Shout out Sean Dewar-Gordon, 2 conference tournament wins this year.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you probably know this. What's the Ken Palm numbers from the year after he leaves the team? Because Sienna's dramatically improved.
Well, I mean, yeah, they were 357 last year.
Dude, that guy, one of those guys who called responded to me about him tonight, which by the way, I'm 90% sure that is Sean Dewar-Gordon running that account. It has to be.
We've got
but I was looking at his tweets and he's does Sienna win 2 games this year without him and Ellie? Come on, man.
They were 4-28. And they beat Ryder without Sean.
He was also talking shit about Carm, who was very good at Siena.
Until.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carm but honestly, you look at what happened since Carm left and you get that program was on a downswing.
Yeah, I mean,
dude,
Carm had been good enough.
Does that team win 2 games without Sean? I don't know, man. They won 2 games before Sean was eligible.
Yeah, I mean, you also think about as bad.
I don't think Carm deserves to get fired. I won't argue with the firing.
Carm had done enough in his the point I was going to make was Carm had done more than enough there that that team being that bad was it was still a debate whether he was going to get fired or not.
Yes. Correct. It's just that they were on a downswing of a program trajectory. 15-5, 12-4, 12-8, 11-9, 3-17.
That 2023 game, Iona at Siena, unreal.
Well, that was the peak. That
Yeah.
was the peak.
That was unreal.
They got to 9-2, and then they had a horrible February.
Mm-hmm. Some other stuff from around conference tournaments tonight. St. Thomas and Omaha are victorious in the Summit League. I hate how the Summit League does the tournament like this, where they have 2 quarterfinals on one day and 2 the next.
We do that. We do that. It's because of the women's tournament.
Maybe that's probably it then.
It is it. I know that the Summit League does the women's.
And then in the Ohio Valley, Little Rock escapes, and Tennessee State, after going down, I think it was 9-0 early against Lindenwood, they win by 14. So those 2 teams move on to the semifinals there, the OVC on Saturday night. Of course, will be the first league to crown a conference tournament champion and send a team to the NCAA tournaments.
3-point shots.
Dead mascots.
Buzzer beaters. Wait, no, it's me.
No, it's half court shots, by the way.
Yeah.
And mascots. Buzzer beaters. Pizzas at the door.
I think it's time to go.
Can I talk about a little of the quarterfinals tomorrow?
Fine. Valley update. Go.
First of all, did we pick a SoCon winner? We did. We definitely did. Okay. SIU is athletic. We know this. What makes Drake, I think, a bad matchup for them is not only Drake slow it down and not turn the ball over. Like, they're just gonna do what they can to keep them out of transition. And I think, that's why Drake will, Drake struggles to blow teams out because they play so slow. But I think Drake should control that game for most of the way tomorrow. Belmont, Illinois State is interesting to me because, it's kind of like Belmont is playing through guards and Pierre, who's going to be the most athletic player on the floor by far. And I think for Illinois State tomorrow, you're going to see Ty Pence on the floor a lot because I think he is the counter to Pierre in terms of athleticism. He's probably the most athletic guy that Illinois State has. But I'm really interested to see, how Belmont is bringing doubles against Chase Walker and, how those guys are closing out on the Illinois State shooters. I'm really, really excited for that one tomorrow. I'm hoping that it's better than the 4-5 quarterfinal we had last year, which obviously we were a bit disappointed by, both the result and the just, game in general wasn't that great of a game. Bradley's a much better coach than Murray State. That's kind of all I really have. Like, the only way I think Murray State stays in this is if Bradley just has a horrendous shooting night. And Murray State's just constantly getting to the rim. But Bradley should take care of business. And then I think Valpo's magic probably stops tomorrow. I mean, their effort and continuity will be way better than what UIC showed tonight. And I don't expect Northern Iowa. Like, Northern Iowa can get beat, obviously, but they usually, when they do get beat, it's because they're playing a better team, and not because they're playing unorganized basketball and taking bad shots against a team like Valpo. So credit to the Beacons for getting it done tonight, but I don't think that Valpo is a team that can get out and pressure the ball and make Northern Iowa uncomfortable. I think Northern Iowa will be able to get into their offense quite easily, and they'll be more physical inside with Cooper Schwieger. And I don't think UIC was tonight. All right, Sam.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Anything else before you take us home?
If you came to hear about Tyler Self and where he's working, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about unlimited 1.5% cash back when you switch to Samuel L. Jackson's credit card, you came to the right place. if you came to hear about the latest happenings with Caleb Grill, who we haven't talked about in like 2 or 3 episodes, you came to the right place. This is season 5 episode. I forgot how to say 71 in Spanish. 71 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. We will see you next time.